Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I am honored to be here with Craig Leipold to announce the City of St. Paul and the Minnesota Wild have reached a framework agreement to fund necessary renovations to 3 of our largest city-owned properties, the Grand Casino Arena, Roy Wilkins Auditorium, and RiverCentre. When I ran for mayor, I promised to tackle the tough problems facing our city and to bridge the gaps that have slowed progress, while being mindful of the growing property tax demands in our city that affect everyone, whether you rent or own. This framework represents a new sustainable approach to funding critical downtown infrastructure. This agreement will not raise property taxes. This is a good deal for our city. Soon after taking office, I brought stakeholders together to begin addressing the issue. Today's announcement is the result of the work and the furthest the city has moved in this process yet. This is proof positive that we can respond to a crisis and move our city forward at the same time. As we revitalize our city center, we need these key anchors to be modern, competitive, and ready to host events. The Grand Casino Arena, RiverCentre, and Roy Wilkins Auditorium are vital gathering places for cultural events, conventions, and sports, and they drive economic activity across our state. From an investment perspective, upgrading the city-owned property sends a clear signal that St. Paul is open for business and ready for partnerships. This project will help attract additional investments, events, and visitors to our downtown, which in turn will expand our tax base. A key feature of the agreement is a dedicated fund for ongoing maintenance so that we won't need to return to the Capitol every decade for more funding. As a former legislator, I know how important that long-term stability is in getting a deal across the finish line. I am an optimist and believe that where there is a will, there is a way. Open dialogue is crucial to how we get this ask across the finish line at the Capitol. My team and I have been talking to legislators throughout this process to make sure that we can include their perspectives in our negotiations. I'm committed to fighting for this deal, and I look forward to talking to the legislature. I want to thank Craig for his commitment to downtown St. Paul and for negotiating in good faith. I will now turn the mic over to him for a few remarks before we take questions about the framework agreement. Craig.
Thank you, Mayor Her. It's good to be here with you. Good morning, and thank you for joining us at Grand Casino Arena. First and foremost, I'd like to thank the Mayor for her strong support of this project. In just a few short months, she's hit the ground running as an excellent leader and a great partner. It's clear we share the same commitment to economic development and quality of life for downtown St. Paul, and we're excited to move forward. The arena complex, including Grand Casino Arena, RiverCentre, and Roy Wilkins Auditorium, is the economic engine of our city. Every year, these facilities host over 400 events, attracting over 2.1 million visitors and generate $383 million in local economic activity. And each year, the facilities become more outdated and less competitive at attracting regional opportunities. Grand Casino Arena is beyond its planned competitive lifespan. Roy Wilkins is an auditorium, is 94 years old. Built before the internet, before television, or even FM radio. It's an exciting time in St. Paul right now. March is the busiest month for our capital city. These beloved city-owned facilities are hosting state high school sports, Minnesota Wild, Minnesota Frost, and soon Major League Women's volleyball games, concerts, cultural events, and more, keeping our communities vibrant. You can feel the energy on the street of St. Paul when our campus is busy. We need to keep these venues modern, safe, accessible, and up to date for visitors from across the state and beyond. And that's why I am very proud to invest in this partnership with Mayor Her and the City of St. Paul. This agreement charts a strong path for our future shared investment into an upgraded arena complex. We can take the necessary steps to secure bill authors and make the ask of the state of Minnesota to help secure this investment in downtown St. Paul's exciting new chapter. Thank you very much.
We'll now open it to questions if anybody has any. What? Let me just do one person at a time. Let's go over here first.
You said this is the furthest along this has gotten in the process. What do you mean by that? I'm curious if it's
Yeah, what we mean by that is that we actually have a signed deal between Craig and myself.
Yeah, I would also say that Mayor Her is very well connected in the state legislature. So when I hear the fact that we're further along, it's because the mayor has taken the time and made a lot of phone calls and visiting legislators, and we're at a point that we have not been in the past.
There was a question over here, and then I'll come back over here. Sorry. Yeah, so the state legislature is a place in which like dreams come true, and it's also where dreams can go and die. And you have to make a strong case for it. I think that part of the problem in the past has been that there hasn't been the strongest case for it. It's really difficult to sell a deal to legislators when there's not actually one that has been signed by the parties. So I will say that that is what we're bringing into this that is different. But additionally on top of that, like we really did scale this project so that it would meet the needs of what we wanted to do. And truthfully, really understanding that this is a complex that hosts sports, but it's so much more than that. This, at the end of the day, is a city property, and that the Wild have been gracious in being partners with us in leasing this property and putting capital up front to renovate it, which means that we are true partners in taking care of this. But this is a state asset. It generates sales tax for the state and for the city, but portions of that sales tax also go to fund transportation and housing, and also for the county. And so, I think that being able to show our partners, because they have a huge load of work that they do up there, and being able to show them very concretely why this is a benefit, that this isn't just about City of St. Paul. This is about the revenues that are missing because we don't have the updated facilities. And so I think that case and being able to share that very confidently will take this project a long ways at the legislature. Yes, question here. Yeah, so actually we're not raising the sales tax. So there's already a half-cent sales tax that is currently now using to fund this complex now. We're asking for an extension of that sales tax, so it's not a new sales tax. I think that all of the pieces have to come together. We need to get an extension in the sales tax, and then we need to be able to get the third of the funding from the state legislature, because our third would come from our own ability to bond at the city level, and then the Wild will come with their piece of it. We would have 2/3 of the project already. I think that hopefully the legislature will see the huge investment by the other parties, but we really do need the other pieces to come through in order for us to move forward. If either one of these do not come through, we'll have to go back to the drawing board and sort of figure out what our next steps will be. It makes me more optimistic. I can talk a little bit about the basic infrastructure, and I'll let Craig answer the rest of it. So, for example, if you've been in the RiverCentre in the Roy Wilkins, so there's a basement part of it that we want to be, because as Craig mentioned, that building is almost 100 years old, that we want to be able to build the infrastructure underneath it, so that renovate that piece of it so that then when we do the additional second phases, so that we can actually work on the top part of the Roy Wilkins, and that also then creates additional space that is connected to our convention center. But also that we have to remember that when these buildings were built, we have outdated HVAC systems, that we have, if you think about our escalators and the ability to get people in and out, that we do know that, with things like COVID and needing to have updated HVAC systems, like those are things that we have to actually just do because they're decades, years old. So there's critical infrastructure within this building that people cannot see that we have to upgrade and put investments into that. But Craig, I don't know if there's other things.
Yeah, that's a good question, because so many of the benefits of this financing and remodeling are behind the walls. People don't see them. So, all the safety issues that are now part of the normal protocol, they require different types of wiring, and high def is something that is new, that was not around in 2000. So that takes all new wiring. We mentioned our bathrooms. If anybody has been to one of our games, the lines go 100 yards outside, and it's outside the bathrooms, and it's our fans. It's just not right there, and they see the other facilities in town and how updated they have become, and they expect that we have that same kind of updates. So there's a lot of things. Most of it is behind the walls that you can't see, and really that's why, just to keep up with what everybody else is doing and make our fan and make this place into a facility that the city and our fans are proud of.
On the same line there, the previous versions of this plan that have called for street-facing improvements, where there'd be like a restaurant open 365 days a year. Is that part of this plan? Is that, say, behind the walls? Is that not?
Yeah, that is not really part of this plan. All right, so we do expect and will encourage private investment all around this campus, but we aren't building anything that would benefit other people to come in specifically, but we will be encouraging them to be part of the whole development. Well, first of all, we will not be shutting down the building for any long period of time. So we will not lose a hockey game in this building because of the renovation. It'll all be whenever we're not playing. We have hired, we have spoken with and have been working with Mortensen, and they have been, they have done projects like this where the sports team did not lose one game. So there likely will be in the summertime when most of this will happen. A very large part of the project is going to be on the north side on 5th Street, where we need more locker rooms and more things down in the event level, which the artists and concerts, and that's what they're looking for when they come to a market. They need things that they didn't need, and they need equipment and facilities they didn't need 26 years ago. So that's a lot of where the expense will go. People will notice that it's going to be new and beautiful, but that's not really what it's all about. But we will make sure that people will be proud of what is built here.
Can I just add that I think we have to remember that there's actually 3 facilities in this building, and so everything won't happen all at once. That as we construct, there will be phases. The Hmong New Year happens in the Roy Wilkins. There's graduations. There are many ways in which the facility, even if one part of it is shut down, that there's opportunity to continue to have other pieces move forward. I will say that in addition to what we talked about, I think people think about when you're renovating, it's the cosmetics of it. But I want to be very clear, like if you look at like the safety, right? There are very few buildings that actually build all the way to the corner the way this is at the corner of 7th and Kellogg coming down here. That it is very difficult for us to, like, for public safety. We always have police have to be stationed when there is activities, concerts, games. And so like there will be, some of these things are for safety and for protection of people who come to use our facilities as well. And I think everybody would agree that in this day and age that protecting people when they are out and about and wanting to just live their lives, that is a really crucial part of why we have to do some of this work.
It is very close to that same plan. We have, I'd say, economically downsized some of the things that we were building, so but it's really not that much different than we had at that time.
Can you explain I believe it was the Roy Wilkins part that's sort of contingent on financing? Can you
That's
explain what that means?
the private financing. That would be okay. Do you want me? Okay, so the city will be put. So the Roy Wilkins is about $150 million. So it'd be the Roy Wilkins and the convention center, because we would refurbish the bottom floor of the Roy Wilkins and make it part of the convention center. The city is committing to financing half of that. They are going to be looking at another private investor to come in for the other half. We are likely, we believe, I mean, we've been talking with the city about that. We haven't come to a firm agreement yet. And if we can't, then they would go outside to find somebody else who would take our place, or at least make the other half of that commitment. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.